Shannon Sharpe, Stephen A. Smith. Who wouldn't love some bromance between Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith? Anyways, this is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Shannon Sharpe making his debut on First Take with Stephen A. Smith. However, it did not go as planned since Shannon Sharpe called Stephen A. Smith Skip not once but on two different occasions. Clearly, Shannon Sharpe feels rattled about his beef with Skip Bayless from Undisputed. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. Will Shannon Sharpe be successful with Stephen A. Smith on First Take? And contrary to the popular belief, I don't believe that Shannon Sharpe will end up being successful with Stephen A. Smith on First Take because of the fact that Shannon Sharpe is only going to be a part-time worker with Stephen A. Smith. Shannon Sharpe is one of those dudes where he needs to be working full-time in order for his product to be somewhat entertaining to the majority of the audience. I understand that a lot of people love Shay Shay on Twitter, and I understand that his Club Shay Shay podcast is actually pretty damn good, but Shannon Sharpe as a part-time worker on First Take ain't going to cut it. He's not going to be one of those guys where if he just shows up on Mondays and Tuesdays, you can say, wow, what a great performance by Shannon Sharpe, and what a great performance that First Take is putting out, because you're going to be saying, man, we need to be seeing Shannon Sharpe 5 days a week on First Take. We need to be seeing Shannon Sharpe talk more often. If Shannon Sharpe is only going to be here for 2 days, then that's going to be kind of an issue because it's going to be hard to develop chemistry. You know why Undisputed has been getting a lot of criticism over the past week, even though their show was actually pretty good in my opinion? It is because of the lack of chemistry that Skip Bayless has with his co-host, and that's not Skip Bayless's fault that he doesn't have that chemistry with his co-host yet. It's only been a week that he's been with those guys. If Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe are only with each other for 2 days a week, it's going to be hard to form that chemistry. Now, as for how they did in their debut, I mean, they didn't really do anything outstanding. It was ordinary. It honestly looked like Skip and Shannon arguing between each other, except that instead of Skip Bayless being there was Stephen A. Smith there. That might explain why Shannon Sharpe kept calling Stephen A. Skip on multiple occasions. And look, I get it. Sometimes you might call a guy the wrong name multiple times. It might take you multiple days to remember somebody's name when you're talking to them. But if this is going to be a regular occurrence, I don't think Stephen A. Smith is going to like that very much because Stephen A. Smith's ego is very big. I understand that Stephen A. Smith played it off pretty cool and said, yeah, go ahead. It's fine, man. It's fine. Do what you got to do. And Shannon Sharpe was like, okay, thank you. Because it was really hard for him to remember Stephen A. Smith because he kept calling him Skip on multiple occasions. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the first clip. It was from Twitter. Both of these clips that I have for you guys are from Twitter. The first one is from Shannon Sharpe's burner. This is the parody account. Roll the film.
KC on upset alert if they don't get Jones back?
Yes, because if you think about it, the Lions were picked to win that division. Skip, this.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Stephen A.
All right, that was the first time that Shannon Sharpe called Stephen A. Smith Skip. That was because of the fact that it was the opening topic, and clearly it seemed like he had a bad habit and that old habits died hard. And then here's the second clip that I have for you guys to show. It was from Daily Loud. This is also from Twitter. It's just a 5-second clip. Go ahead and roll the film.
Hey, you know what, Skip?
Skip, it's okay. It's okay.
It's been 7 years. Stephen A.
Right, I got you.
As you can see from those two clips, Shannon Sharpe calls Stephen A. Smith Skip, and that's because he's thinking, oh man, I'm debating against Skip Bayless. I can understand why Shannon Sharpe is feeling that way because of the fact that he debated against Skip Bayless for 7 years. But also, you have to remember that Shannon Sharpe is supposed to be a professional, and clearly he was not being professional right there when he called Stephen A. Skip. It looked like it was a practice set that he was doing. And honestly, I think this is part of a bigger problem that Shannon Sharpe has right now, because clearly Skip Bayless lives in Shannon Sharpe's head rent-free, and that Shannon Sharpe is clearly thinking about how Skip Bayless is going to fail, and he's thinking about how Skip is having his new show, and he's thinking about how a lot of people on Twitter, they seem to be gravitating towards it, and how Undisputed, they can actually get guests now that Shannon Sharpe is not here anymore. They even got Deion Sanders on Undisputed yesterday. Whoa, I didn't expect that to happen, but it happened. And now First Take is probably thinking, whoa, Skip Bayless, he can actually bring in guests. Who would have thought that he could actually bring on a variety of people to a show? Because whenever you think of Skip Bayless, you think of him talking about the same topics with the same people over and over and over again. The way Skip Bayless talks, you would think that he has autism or something like that, because he talks about Cowboys, he talks about LeBron, he talks about Rodgers, he used to talk about Tom Brady back when he was a player, and then whenever we have time, go ahead and talk about Baker Mayfield. Now, when you see Skip Bayless on Undisputed, they've actually done a better job spreading the topics. Now, is it still too Cowboy-centric? Absolutely, but it's gotten better. At least now they're actually talking a little bit about college football. Now they're actually talking about other players around the league outside of a handful handful of dudes. And this was the problem that Undisputed had for years because of the fact that Shannon Sharpe was not able to have enough say in terms of the topics, because clearly he wanted to talk about different topics, and Skip Bayless was, we're not going to talk about different topics. We're going to go ahead and repeat the same topics over and over again. I can understand why somebody would feel irritated about that over the years. And as for how Shannon Sharpe will do on First Take overall, I don't think that show is going to be all that interesting with Stephen A. Smith. I understand that Stephen A. Smith is a ratings draw. I understand that Stephen A. Smith has been a smashing success on First Take. However, I just don't feel that interested seeing Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe debate against each other. Maybe First Take should be renamed Woke Take. Maybe First Take should be renamed Loud Take, because I just don't feel like they're going to give a lot of useful analysis during the season because of the fact that both men are generally wrong with their predictions more often than not, and they are also the two biggest loudmouths that you will ever see on live television. You got Screaming A. Smith. Yes, I called him Screaming A. Smith because he's a screamer, yelling as loud as he can. And then you got Shannon Sharpe also getting pretty loud, as he likes to go ahead and be this big mouth that seems to know everything. So you got two loudmouths going at it. And although it may be funny at first, it may also get very old as well. I don't think a show of Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith is going to last, particularly when they're going to do the Cowboys topics, because those are two guys that hate on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, if you're in a debate show, what do you want? You want disagreement. You want arguments. If Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe are agreeing with each other about the Dallas Cowboys, then it's not going to be a very interesting debate show. You also think about the fact how Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith act very woke in general in terms of on Twitter and on their shows. And if both men are exercising their woke beliefs, then that's not going to be a fun show to watch either. If you have two woke guys on the same set at the same time, that's going to turn a lot of people off, and a lot of people are going to say, man, why should I even watch this sports show? Why couldn't I just do my own podcast? Why couldn't I listen to The Herd? Why couldn't I listen to First Things First? Heck, why couldn't I even listen to Undisputed? At least Undisputed brings on a variety of people. Now, at least they're not woke. At least those guys that Skip Bayless is bringing on, even though Skip Bayless may be insufferable himself, at least those other guys are saying, oh, wow, they're actually pretty interesting. I like hearing Keyshawn Johnson. I like hearing Michael Irvin. I definitely like hearing Richard Sherman. Even throwing Lil Wayne in there is certainly an interesting topic. Or even throwing Rachel Nichols, who hasn't been heard in years. And then you think about all those guests that Skip Bayless is bringing on. He even brought on Deion Sanders yesterday on Undisputed. I mean, obviously Shannon Sharpe overall, he didn't have a great debut on First Take. I thought it was honestly underwhelming. I thought that he could have easily done better than what he did. But I could tell that Shannon Sharpe wanted to be chill because of the fact that Shannon Sharpe has had diva issues with multiple companies, from CBS to Undisputed, or even when he was a player. I understand Shannon Sharpe was a fantastic player, and I understand that he has his moments and that he can be funny at times, but he can also be very obnoxious to people. So Shannon Sharpe, I mean, I thought his debut was bland, but it certainly could have been worse. Overall, though, it was clear that he struggled and that this was not his greatest performance that he ever put on there. And for the people that were talking trash about Undisputed and the Rays, I've heard a lot of people crap on the ratings from the first 3 days that Skip Bayless had. I'm honestly going to not be that worried about it, because you have to look at the timing of when those shows were filmed, because of the fact that Undisputed is filming their debut when there is no NFL preseason football and when there is no regular season football in the NFL as well. You also have to remember that there is no NBA going on, so you have to understand that ratings are going to be a little bit down around this time period. When you look at Undisputed just a year ago, Undisputed was only averaging less than 125,000 viewers per show around this time period last year. Now Undisputed is averaging about 110k viewers, but you also have to remember that it's only off of 3 days worth of work, so we still haven't gotten the report as to how they did on Undisputed on Thursday, Friday, and how they did yesterday on Labor Day. I expect those ratings to go up. Now, if the ratings don't go up by a significant amount by that time, then I would say that it would be time for Undisputed to get concerned. But other than that, I think that Undisputed is doing just fine. I mean, obviously Shannon Sharpe leaving Undisputed certainly hurt a little bit, but it's not going to hurt as bad as what people are making it sound like to be. I honestly like the new format of Undisputed better than what it was beforehand, but let's see what happens with Shannon Sharpe on First Take. I'm intrigued to see how it's going to play out. I don't think it's going to be all that great. I think that they will have viral moments, but I don't think they're going to have fantastic shows day in and day out. I don't think they're going to be having shows that are going to be drawing over 500,000 viewers a day. I just don't see that happening. So that is why Shannon Sharpe will not end up being successful with Stephen A. Smith on First Take, as the show should be known as Woke Take. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking. Like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and @Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.